Welcome back to my channel. Today we will learn about one of the most explosive and emotionally charged storylines that has gripped the Bold and the Beautiful viewers worldwide. The CBS soap opera has always been known for delivering jaw-dropping plot twists that leave audiences on the edge of their seats, and this particular narrative arc is no exception. We're diving deep into Sheila Carter's heartbreaking discovery, her desperate attempt to add amicable resolution, and the earth-shattering revelation that will change everything we thought we knew about her future and her relationships. This is a story of betrayal, desperation, and confusion, and the kind of life-altering decisions that define soap opera storytelling at its finest. The foundation of this entire saga begins with a moment of pure shock and devastation for Sheila Carter. Sheila, who has spent considerable time building what she believed to be a stable and committed marriage with Deacon Sharp, makes a discovery that shatters her world into a million pieces. She uncovers evidence of infidelity. Her husband Deacon has been conducting a secret affair with Taylor Hamilton, one of the show's most prominent and respected characters. This isn't just any affair. It's an affair involving someone within their social circle, someone Sheila may have trusted or at least considered part of their extended network. The emotional weight of this discovery cannot be overstated. For Sheila, this moment represents the complete collapse of everything she thought she had built. The trust that forms the foundation of any marriage she has obliterated in an instant. The person she chose to spend her life with, the person she made vows to and committed herself to, has betrayed her in one of the most fundamental and hurtful ways possible. This is the kind of betrayal that doesn't just wound the heart, it shatters the very core of a person's sense of security and worth. Following this earth-shattering revelation, Sheila finds herself in a state of deep desperation and emotional turmoil. The natural reaction to such betrayal would be anger, rage, and desire for revenge, and while these emotions certainly course through her veins, Sheila makes a surprising and ultimately more noble choice. Rather than allowing herself to be consumed by the desire to hurt her husband in return, or to make this divorce process as painful and contentious as possible, Sheila demonstrates an unexpected level of maturity and emotional strength. She comes to a difficult but important decision. She wants to handle this divorce amicably. Despite the monumental pain she's experiencing, despite the legitimate reasons she would have to want to make Deacon's life as difficult as possible, Sheila chooses the path of peace. This decision speaks volumes about her character and her desire to move forward with her life in a way that doesn't compound her own suffering through endless legal battles and emotional warfare. She understands, perhaps on some deep level, that fighting bitterly with Deacon will only prolong her own pain and prevent her from truly healing and moving forward. This choice to pursue an amicable divorce is a testament to Sheila's resilience and her capacity for forgiveness, even when forgiveness seems nearly impossible. She's not naive about what Deacon has done. She fully understands the gravity of his betrayal, but she's choosing to rise above the baser impulses that such betrayal naturally triggers. She wants closure, resolution, and peace, not endless conflict and pain. As weeks pass following the initial discovery and Sheila's decision to pursue a peaceful divorce, one would think that time might begin to ease her pain and allow her to move toward a new chapter of her life. However, time in this case does not prove to be a healer. Instead, the passage of time brings with it something far more complicated, far more life-altering, and far more challenging than Sheila could have possibly anticipated or prepared herself for. During these intervening weeks, Sheila begins to notice changes in her body that she initially attributes to stress, emotional upheaval, and the toll that her crumbling marriage has taken on her physical health. The human body often responds to emotional trauma with physical symptoms: sleeplessness, appetite changes, fatigue, and general malaise. It would be perfectly understandable for Sheila to assume that these changes fall into that category. But as the days continue to pass and the symptoms persist, a troubling realization begins to dawn on her. Weeks after she discovered her husband's infidelity with Taylor, Sheila receives news that stops her in her tracks and fundamentally alters her entire situation. She discovers that she is pregnant. This revelation hits her like a freight train because it comes at precisely the moment when she is trying to extract herself from her marriage and move forward with her life independent of Deacon and the pain he has caused her. The timing of this pregnancy is absolutely devastating from an emotional and practical standpoint. Sheila is not only dealing with the betrayal of her husband's affair, but she is now also dealing with the reality that she is carrying his child. This pregnancy tethers her to Deacon forever, regardless of whether they divorce or separate. This child will be a permanent link between them, a constant reminder of their relationship, and a complicating factor in every major life decision she will make going forward. The shock of this discovery cannot be understated. In an instant, Sheila's plans for a clean break, an amicable divorce, and a fresh start are thrown into chaos. Every assumption she made about her immediate future has to be reconsidered. Every plan she tentatively began to make must now be reassessed in light of this new reality. She's not just a woman going through a divorce. She's a pregnant woman going through a divorce, and that changes absolutely everything about the situation. Once Sheila comes to terms with the fact that she is pregnant, or at least once she begins to process this reality, she finds herself facing one of the most agonizing internal conflicts of her life. The question that haunts her day and night is deceptively simple in its formulation, but extraordinarily complex in its implications. Should she tell Deacon about the pregnancy, or should she keep this information to herself? This is not a choice that can be made lightly, or without careful consideration of all the potential ramifications. Every option carries with it significant consequences both for Sheila personally and for all the other people involved in this increasingly complicated situation. This internal struggle represents the core of this entire narrative arc, because whatever decision Sheila ultimately makes will set off a chain reaction of events that will affect not just her life but the lives of everyone around her. On one hand, if she tells Deacon about the pregnancy, he will immediately become entangled in every aspect of her life. A baby is not something that can be hidden or managed independently. A baby demands involvement from both parents, or at least most people would argue that it should. If she tells Deacon, she will be giving him information that will almost certainly complicate the divorce proceedings. He may attempt to use the pregnancy and the upcoming birth of their child as leverage in custody negotiations, child support discussions, and other legal matters. He may try to use the baby to convince her not to divorce him at all, to give their marriage another chance to work through their problems for the sake of their unborn child. Alternatively, if Sheila decides to keep the pregnancy a secret from Deacon, she will be denying him knowledge of his own biological child. She will be making a unilateral decision about information that fundamentally concerns him and affects him directly. She will be depriving him of the opportunity to be involved in the pregnancy from the beginning, to prepare himself emotionally and practically for the birth of his child, and to have any say in what happens next. Keeping this secret means bearing the entire burden alone, managing the pregnancy without his support, and dealing with the inevitable complications that arise when such a significant secret eventually comes to light. The internal conflict that Sheila experiences is not merely an intellectual exercise. It is a deeply emotional and psychological battle that wages within her as she grapples with this impossible decision. Her mind races through countless scenarios, each one more complicated and distressing than the last. She imagines telling Deacon and watching his reaction. Will he try to control her? Will he attempt to manipulate her? Will he claim to want to make the marriage work, creating false hope and prolonging her suffering? At the same time, she imagines keeping the secret and the guilt that will inevitably accompany such concealment. How long can she possibly hide a pregnancy? Eventually, her body will show the signs. Eventually, she will give birth. Eventually, Deacon will find out, and when he does, his anger and sense of betrayal will likely exceed even his shame about his affair with Taylor. He will feel as though Sheila has made a fool of him twice over, first by his own infidelity and then by her deception about something as fundamental and life-altering as carrying his child. Sheila is trapped in a situation where every available choice feels wrong, every option feels fraught with danger and potential for causing additional pain. This is the human condition at its most difficult, faced with impossible decisions where there is no clearly right answer, only various shades of wrong answers and their respective consequences. What makes this situation particularly compelling from a soap opera narrative perspective is that the stakes could not possibly be higher. This is not a matter of simple relationship drama or temporary conflict. This is about a new life, about the future of multiple people, about decisions that will have ramifications that extend decades into the future. A child born under these circumstances to parents whose relationship is fractured and whose circumstances are chaotic will carry the impact of this moment forward throughout their entire life. Sheila understands on some level that her decision about whether to tell Deacon about the pregnancy will shape not just her own future, but the future of the child she is carrying. If she keeps the secret, the child will grow up in a household without a father, without the financial and emotional support that a present and involved parent can provide. If she tells Deacon, the child will be born into a situation of ongoing conflict, manipulation, and uncertainty.